Hi guys, so I'm going to take you through a 6-week Pilates program, and each session we're going to have a different focus on the session. So by the end of the 6 weeks you'll be able to put together one full Pilates routine. So today's session we're going to focus on alignment, breathing, core engagement and spinal mobility as well. And we'll also work on a little bit of balance towards the end of the session. So to start off with, if you stand onto your mats, you want to bring your feet together to begin with, and then bring the toes out. You want to have the toes 10 to the hour and 10 past the hour. So imagine you're standing on a little clock face, and then you want to bring your heels to line up with your toes. So it should roughly be just over a fist width between the knees to line up your ankles, your knees and your hips. You want to keep a nice soft bend through the knees, so you don't want to lock the knees out completely, just a nice soft bend through the knees. And then if you place your hands on the hips, all you're going to do is just work on tilting that pelvis forwards and backwards. So just working in between those two movements, tilting that pelvis forwards and backwards. So just have the fingertips on the front of your hips and the thumbs on the back, just to be able to feel that pelvis moving. Sometimes it can take a few goes with this one just to get that movement through the hips. And then in between those two movements, so in between pushing forwards and backwards, you want to line those hips up in the middle. So you might find you've got a little squeeze on the core in order to keep those hips in that position. So you might find a lot of people can walk around kind of with their back quite arched with the hips sticking out. So in order to bring those hips back into the middle, just tilt them forwards and backwards, and just think about pulling them into the middle of those two movements just to line up that neutral pelvis. So we're going to work on squeezing through the core. So to start with, I want you to imagine that someone's tied a piece of string to your belly button and they're pulling your belly button right back towards the spine. So to start off with, you're going to try and pull back as hard as you can. So you're going to take a nice deep breath in through the nose, and then when you exhale through the mouth, that's when you want to draw that belly button right back to the spine. So deep breath in through the nose and exhale, really draw that belly button back as much as you can, and then relax it there. So have a little squeeze and then relax. We're going to do the same again, but this time you're going to only pull back to 50%. So last time you pulled back 100%, now just to 50%. So the same again, in through the nose, exhale, draw that belly button back just to that 50% mark, and then relax it there. And then last one we're going to do, we're going to draw it back now to 20%. So we go from 100 to 50 to 20, just so you can get the feel for what 20 should feel like. So you're just dropping it back a little bit each time. So nice deep breath in through the nose, exhale, and just draw that belly button back just to that 20% mark, and then release it there. So throughout any Pilates exercises, when you engage the core, you want to engage it at about that 20% mark. So you don't want to put it back all the way, because you want to be able to get that breathing going at the same time. So just pull it back to that 20%. And the next one, we're going to focus on the pelvic floor engagement. So with this one, the only way to describe the feeling for this is just imagine that you're in a long queue, needing to go to the bathroom, but you can't go because the queue's so long, so you're just holding it in. So it's through that lower part there that you're going to try and get that squeeze. So with this one, we don't pull back, we try and pull up. So practice this at home as much as you can, because it is one that a lot of people can find quite difficult to get to grips with. So just keep practicing it and it will just come with that practice. So same process, breathe in through the nose and exhale, draw that pelvic floor up. So just draw it up as much as you can and then relax it there. Next one, now we're going to that 50%. So draw it back a little bit now. So in through the nose, exhale, draw it up just to that 50%, and then release it again. Last one, now we're going to that 20%. So take it back a little bit more, in through the nose, exhale and pull up just to that 20% mark and then release it there. So last one now, we're just going to take a few breaths, this time breathing in through the nose. When you exhale, you're going to pull back and up at the same time just to that 20% mark. So don't worry if you haven't got the hang of it. Like I say, just keep practicing it when you're at home and you'll get the hang of it the more you practice. So deep breath in through the nose, exhale, draw that belly button back and pull that pelvic floor up, squeeze and release. And we go again, in through the nose, exhale, pull back and up and squeeze and release. And last one, deep breath in, exhale, pull that belly button back, draw it up, squeeze and then release it there. Good. So the next one, I'm going to get you to place your fingertips on your rib cage. So fingertips on the front, thumbs at the back, relaxing those shoulders down. We're going to take some nice deep breaths through that rib cage. So imagine your rib cage is a balloon. So when you inhale, that balloon's expanding, and when you exhale, that balloon's deflating. So you want the breathing to come through the ribs, not through the chest. So if you're breathing through the chest, you'll find that when you breathe in, the chest will lift, the shoulders will lift, and you're not relaxing through those areas. So what you want to do is keep the shoulders down and just try and breathe through the rib cage. So deep breath in. So now you can see the shoulders are relaxed. And exhale. Deep breath in through the nose. And exhale. So as you take that breath in, you should feel the rib cage expanding from the front, the sides and the back. Those shoulders and that chest should not be puffing up as you breathe through. So we'll do a few more. In through the nose. And exhale. And again. Good, and last one. And relax it there, good. So just keep practicing that through in your own time, just so you can get to grips with that breathing. So that core engagement and that breathing technique we want to use within the exercises that we work through during our 6 weeks Pilates program. So now with the shoulders, you want to keep the shoulders always down and away from the ears, just relaxing those arms down the sides, keeping that chin, I like to say, on the shelf. So we must remember that the neck is also part of the spine, so you want to keep that chin on the shelf throughout any other movements that we're doing through the session. You want to make sure that you keep that alignment from your neck all the way down through the spine. So it's just imagining someone's kind of got a piece of string and they're pulling your head up towards the ceiling, so you're really lengthening now through the whole of your body. So we're going to start by mobilizing through the neck, so keep those shoulders down, just turn the head across over to one side, hold it in that position just to feel that stretch through the neck. 3, 2, 1, and bring it back into the middle, and now across to the other side and hold it there. 3, 2, 1, and back across to the other side. Remember, stay nice and tall. 3, 2, 1, and last one across the other side. 3, 2, 1, and back into the middle. Good. So next one, keeping those shoulders down, you're just going to bring one ear across to the shoulder. So try not to lean with this one. Keep your body still. Just bring the ear across to feel that stretch through the side of the neck, and hold it there. And back across to the other side. Hold it there. And again, back across. And last one. And back to the middle. Then to increase that, if you bring your left hand onto your right shoulder, holding that shoulder down, now bring that ear across, so bring the ear across from the opposite shoulder that you're holding down, just to now increase that stretch. And then slowly bring the chin down towards your chest, whilst keeping that hand on the shoulder. And then turn it up towards the ceiling, just to change the angle of that stretch. And then we change over, bringing that right hand now across to the left shoulder, holding it down, bring the ear across. And now turn the chin down to the chest. And up towards the ceiling. And relax the arms down. Now the next one, all we're going to do is stretch through the back of the neck. So you're going to bring the chin down to the chest, hold it in that position to feel that stretch through the back of the neck. And bring the head back up into the middle. And the same again, bring the chin down to the chest. With all these movements, just make sure you're not forcing it through, just take it to a position that's comfortable for you. And back to the middle. And last one, chin to chest. And back up to the middle. So we're going to work through those shoulders. So bringing those shoulders forwards, up, back and down, really rounding through those shoulders. Squeeze those shoulder blades at the back. As you bring the shoulders up, take a deep breath in through the nose and exhale on the way down. Two more. And then to increase that, you can bring the arms up into it. Same again, deep breath in through the nose, fill those lungs and exhale, bringing those arms back down again. And two more. Now you're going to bring those hands behind the back to link those fingers together, stretching out through the chest, so pulling those shoulder blades back, keeping the chin on that shelf. Just hold that stretch there. And now we're going to round the shoulders, so you bring the hands in front, link those fingers together, bring the chin to the chest, just to stretch through that upper back. Hold it there. Relax the arms down, just roll those shoulders back just to release that off. Now bringing the arms out in front, keep those shoulders down, away from the ears. With this exercise, you really want to focus on keeping those hips fixed forward, so the hips are not moving with this one, just twisting the head and shoulder round to one side, mobilising through that upper back, back to the middle and across to the other side. So really focus on keeping those hips fixed forwards, so you almost want to push the hips in the opposite direction to make sure they stay forward. So what you don't want is this, with those hips twisting around with you, so really focus on keeping them still. Feel that stretch through the upper back. With all of these mobility exercises, they're really good to do on a daily basis if you find that you're sitting down at a laptop a lot, especially in the morning. A lot of people can feel quite stiff through the back in the morning, so it's nice to work through these just to loosen up through that spine. And last one. Good, now relaxing the arms down by the side, keeping the feet down on the floor. You're just going to lean across to one side, just take it to where you can, back to the middle and across to the other side. So make sure that those feet stay down on the floor. Just take it to where you can, don't force it down. Keep it nice and controlled. So now we're feeling that stretch through the side and we're mobilising through the lower back, opening up those lower joints in the spine. And then to increase that, you can bring your arm up into it, bringing the arm over, holding that stretch, and back across again. Hold that stretch. This is one of my favourite ones to work through in the mornings to really loosen up through that lower back. I'm going to go for one more on each side. And last one. And relax it there. So the next one we're going to work through some roll down. So I'll show you from the side just so you can see how we break it down. So bringing the chin to the chest to begin with, you then round the shoulders in, and you want to feel each segment of the spine peeling away, so you're reaching down for the toes. Keep that chin into the chest, take it nice and slow. Once you get as far as you can, just relax those shoulders down and just hang in that position to feel that stretch through the back of the legs, and it's a nice release on that lower back as well. So just hold it in that position. You can move the head from side to side just to make sure you're really relaxing through the head and the shoulders. And then on the way back up, we work through the reverse. So you keep that chin tucked into the chest, slowly feel that spine peeling back up to the top, and then the head's the last thing to come back up at the top. And then we go again. So each time you work through this exercise, you want to see if you can reach your hands closer and closer to the floor. Reaching down, hold it there. Feel that stretch. Let the head and the shoulders hang. And slowly roll it back up again. Remember, the head's the last thing to come back up at the top. Yeah, we're going to go for that one more time. Chin to chest, round the shoulders, nice and slow. See if you can reach those hands a little bit further now. Feel that stretch through the back of the legs. Keep that chin tucked into the chest and slowly roll it back up to the top with the head coming up last. And then just round those shoulders back at the top of the movement. Okay, so now we've worked through that spine, we're going to warm up the hips and the knees now. So something you're probably all quite familiar with is squats, but we're going to make sure we work through them nice, slow and controlled. So if you've kind of lost your foot position, just remember feet together, toes 10 to the hour, 10 past the hour, and then line those heels up. So you want to keep your feet in that position as we work through the squats. So I'll show you from the side. Just imagining you've got a chair and you're going to sit back down on that chair. Nice deep breath in through the nose as you come down. Sit back onto those heels and exhale and drive back up again. And again, inhale. Drive your weight through those heels and back up to the top again. And again, we're going to go for 10 in total, keeping it nice and slow. Keep that core engaged as we go. Try and keep those knees in line as well, so we don't want any wobbling through the knees. So really drive through, keeping those knees nice and straight, avoiding them from caving in as you come up. Okay, so we'll go for 3 more. And on this last one, we're going to hold, so hold it in that position. Small pulses up and down, driving through those heels. Keep pulsing. 3, 2, 1, and back up to the top again. Good, so we've mobilised through the hips and the knees, and now we've warmed up those quads a little bit as well. So now next we're going to focus on mobilising through the ankles and warming up the calves a little bit as well. So I apologise in advance, my right ankle clicks a lot when I do this, so apologies if you hear any clicking. Hopefully you've got a little bit of music on in the background as well. So with this one, driving up onto the toes, there's the click, and back down again. Deep breath in through the nose, and exhale on the way down. Keep that core engaged as you come up onto the toes. So take it nice and slow again. You want to avoid any kind of wobbling like this through the ankles. So keep it nice and solid. We're going to go for 3 more. Apologies for my clicky ankle. Sounds a lot worse than it is. Last one, we're going to hold it at the top. So hold it there. Keep that core engaged, hold that balance, drive through those toes. Hold it there. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and bring it back down again. We're going to work on a little bit more balance now, so keeping that core engaged, balancing on that right leg, nice soft bend in the knees to make sure you're not locking that knee out. Keep that core switched on. You're just going to gently sweep the floor with one foot, so you're getting a bit of mobility through the hip and you're working on that single leg balance at the same time. So with the balance, just make sure your hips are not hiking, so you don't want to kind of sit into it. Really keep up nice and tall. Remember that piece of string pulling you up. Keep that core switched on, nice and tall, sweeping the floor. Just remember to take some nice breaths as you go as well, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Good, and we switch it over, same on the other side. Nice and tall, soft bend in the knee, sweeping that floor. Last one, and relax it there. Okay, I'm going to turn to the side just so you can see this exercise. Hopefully you've got enough room. So we're going to work a little bit more on that single leg balance now. So we're going to be leaning forward almost into a single leg deadlift. So keeping that core switched on, keeping those hips still. Even if you just want to lean slightly forwards into it, keep that back nice and flat. Just remember, we're not bending through the knee, but we're not locking that knee out at the same time. So it's just a soft bend in the knee. You can do what you wish with your hands. Just make sure as you bring it forward that that hip isn't twisting out. So you really want to keep those hips fixed towards the floor. So I quite like to keep my hands on the hips with this one so I can control them and make sure they're not twisting as I go. So like I say, you can lean just slightly forwards. The further you lean forwards, the more you're going to be working through that hamstring, and obviously the more challenging that balance is going to be. So as you bring it forwards, just hold 2 to 3 seconds, control that balance, and back to the middle again. So we're going to go for 5 on each side. So we're going to do 3 more here. 2 more. Really try and lift up through that back leg as well. Keep it as straight as you can if you've got the space. And last one. And then we'll switch it over, same on the other side, and keep those hands on those hips. keep that core switched on. Try to make sure that hip isn't twisting as you go. Back into the middle. Take it to where you can. Like I say, you don't have to lean forwards as far. You can just lean forward slightly just to shift that weight a little bit. We've got 2 more here. And last one. Good. Okay, so from there, we're now going to take it down to the floor, so where we would start the next part of the session. So, as we were working through those roll downs, we're now going to roll it down onto the floor. So, bring the chin to the chest, round those shoulders in, nice and slow. Feel that spine peeling down, reaching down towards the floor. Now if you can't get your hands to the floor, you can bend your knees to help bring the hands to the floor, and then we're just going to walk it out in to that all fours position. So in this position, we just want to make sure our elbows are in line with our shoulders, so wrist and elbow in line with the shoulders, and also knees in line with the hips. So keep that core switched on to make sure we're not rounding through the back or dropping those hips, arching the back. You're going to keep that back nice and flat, and then from there just sit back onto the heels into that child's pose, reaching the arms out in front and just hold it in that position. So you feel free to hold it in this position for as long as you like, just to finish off our session. Quite a nice one to hold, I'd say, for at least 1 to 2 minutes, especially if you hold this position daily. You'll really feel that difference through that lower back. It's a nice release through there. So you're more than welcome to keep hold in that position for as long as you like. So that's session 1 of our 6-week program. So you've got all your spinal mobility, your alignment, your breathing, that core engagement, and some balance work there as well. So next week we're going to go on to more floor work, focusing on our upper body. So I look forward to seeing you there. Hope you enjoyed it.